They ask me who I am. Not in holos or in history scrolls, but truly, not the name etched in reports or whispered in the halls of power, but the man who stood when empires fell.
I am Gilad Pellaeon, not a hero, not a villain, a soldier of the stars, born of discipline, forged in war, tempered in loyalty.
From the bridge of star destroyers to shadowed councils in secret chambers, I served, and not for power. I served for something that once meant order, honor, and peace. Yes, even in an empire.
And when the galaxy tore itself apart, I stayed, not to rebuild tyranny, but to keep a spark alive.
I was born of Corellian blood, not one for flair, but for discipline. Where others raced starships, I drilled formations and studied fleet movements. I joined the Navy young, aboard the Harbinger, still green, learning the sharp contrast between ideals and orders. I watched Jedi fall during the Clone Wars, watched the Senate rot before Palpatine even rose. When the Republic became the Empire, I didn't question. Not because I lacked doubt, but because I believed that order was necessary, that peace required structure. I served through the rise and I stayed through the fall, and doors shattered everything. Our emperor was gone and chaos surged, but I stayed, I took command of the Chimera. And from that day forward, I would never abandon my post again.
Then came Throng, a mind like none I'd ever seen. Art, strategy, psychology, he could read a battle from a painting. He didn't command with fear like Vader, nor with fire like Tarkin. He commanded with precision, cold, calculating, brilliant, but never cruel for cruelty's sake. He chose me as his second. I never understood why at first. I wasn't brilliant, just steady, but perhaps that's what he needed. A counterbalance, a realist. Together we led campaigns that shook the galaxy. We came close to restoring the Empire, but betrayal came again, and this time even Thrawn couldn't predict it. He died, murdered by one of his own, and I was left again to hold the line alone. I am Pellaeon, not a warlord, not a tyrant. I held fast when others ran. I stood when hope was gone. No throne, no force to guide me, just steel stars and stubborn loyalty. Through rebellions, through betrayals, I carried the dream, not of domination, but of order restored without fear. Years passed, the galaxy moved on. New republics, Jedi reborn. But still, chaos lingered. Remnants of the Empire scattered, each clutching power like rats with crumbs. Then came the Shadow Council, an echo of what we once were, twisted by desperation. I returned, not to rule, but to bring unity. I sat beside Hux, Gideon, each with their own schemes. I saw darkness in their ambitions, and still, I stayed, because someone had to speak for the Empire's better soul, if there was one left. A remnant reborn. I rebuilt what I could, not a new empire, but a remnant loyal, structured, restrained. I negotiated with the new republic, refused to become a pirate king. I led my people, those who still believed in order, but not in oppression. The younger officers called me the old man, led them. I had seen more battles than they had birthdays, and still I taught them restraint. Then came Jason Solo, now Darth Caedus. He demanded allegiance, not peace, not cooperation, submission.
bore the face of the Republic's future. But his eyes were Vader's, and I had bowed to that shadow once, never again. I am Pellaeon, not of the dark side, not a fallen glory. I did not kneel, not to Cadus, not to fear. When tyrants returned in new skins, I stood in defiance, even when the cost was clear. Assassination at Fonder. I remember the silence, the calm before history snapped shut. I had refused Cadus, said no, firm, final. He sent Tahiri, a child of war, twisted by grief once she was a Jedi now. I barely recognized her. She looked at me with regret, and I understood she didn't want to do it, but the dark makes tools of us all. She killed me, quick, clean, efficient. No grand speeches, no blaze of glory, just silence and blood on polished floor. I died a soldier, a loyalist, an idealist, but above all, a man who would not betray what he knew was right. Now my voice is gone, but perhaps you still hear it in the discipline of a true fleet, in the stillness of command decisions made without pride. Remember me not as a hero, but as a servant of structure, of sanity, of balance in an unbalanced age. Let Thrawn's legacy be brilliance, let mine be resolve. Tell them I never broke, not for kings, not for Sith, not for survival. My name was Gilad Pellaeon, and I stood